cinemas last week and I saw that Australian ad that tries to convince Brits to go to Australia. Anybody seen it? It goes something like this. We prepared the beer for ya. We cleaned the camels for ya. Have you seen that? Have the people who made that ad ever actually been to Britain or met a British person? Because if they want Brits to go over there, this is what the ad would be like. We put the kettle on for ya. We've made sure that no bastard talks to you on the tube. And we've spoken to God and we've made sure that it's going to rain every bloody day you're here. That's how the ad would go, and that's when Brits would go to Australia, I reckon. We have got an Australian next on the show, our last guest for this evening. Lovely Hennessy, would you please bring on our final guest?
Indeed, Maddie. Well, our final guest for this evening is an Australian actor, television presenter and comedian. Please welcome the very talented Mark Little!
Hi, Maddie.
Hello, Mark.
Thank you. Hello, good evening. Are we in the bath?
Sleep in my bath, are you?
Keep me thongs on or what? I can take me thongs
No,
off.
you can't call them thongs here, love.
Oh, mate, I better make a bit of thong action.
Right, I'm going with you.
Right, we're in. Cosy.
Yeah, cosy. Mark, tell us a little bit about Raw Talent Rodeo.
Raw Talent Rodeo, well, it's an attempt, and it's actually worked, to find and create a variety night of entertainment. It's not a comedy night, it's not a poetry night, it's not a music night, it's actually everything. So we've got burlesque and circus, freaks, music, mayhem, poetry. We've lumped it all together, and we've created these three huge nights. We built up a residency, because what I found was, for my humour, there weren't many clubs where I could actually perform my humour. So...
What is, I mean, how do you describe your, when you say my
it's
humour?
Pretty, it's pretty hardcore, it's improvisational. I need an audience that's listening. And since the whole Joe Mangle debacle, and people actually like thinking I'm Joe Mangle, I'm going to get up there and like do stuff about Bouncer and Kylie. And the shit I could do about Bouncer and Kylie, but I don't. I choose not to. So I went through a weird patch there. So I've sort of come through the Joe stuff, coming out the other side. Britain now realised, even Brighton certainly does know that I actually live here now. I'm actually a bit of a pom now.
You've been in Brighton for a long time.
Yeah, I've started to assimilate.
Yeah.
15 years now, since '92.
What brought you here? I mean, why did you come
the
here?
weather, the beach. and people laugh at that, right? But it's bloody true. Because I toured England, and I was looking to get out of Australia. I just was a bit sick of Oz.
Yeah.
Need to get out. Like Australia's like living in a country town, and you have to move out to the city and see the world. So that's basically
which is Europe.
Which is basically over here.
Yeah.
And my granddad was from Somerset. My convicts, my great relatives are all convicts. So I actually feel more at home over here than I do in Australia, really.
Yeah.
And that's the whole issue of the Aborigines and the fact how badly treated they are. And I find it really hard to live in Australia while the Aborigines are being treated so badly.
How much of your comedy is political? I mean, do you...
It's extremely political. We were having a go at the Dalai Lama the other night. It really is. It's not censored. A lot of the performers are actually youngsters, like 18 to 21. There's this new breed of young performer who aren't comedy, who aren't burlesque. They're like this new Beckett almost sort of surreal cabaret, which is like, oh, this is good. This is actually making me feel really old. This is good. This is important.
And you're seeing that in Brighton. You're seeing this new
kind
of
it's
thing
there,
coming
and
through.
we've unearthed it with this Raw Talent Rodeo, which is really good.
I think it's brilliant. I think what you're doing here in Brighton is fantastic.
Yeah, cool.
I mean, in the 80s, the cabaret comedy thing was very much your thing. I mean, you kind of almost pioneered it to a certain degree.
Ooh, that's good. That's a strong word. Yeah, pioneered it. Like,
yeah,
I was a bit of an Aussie pioneer. Yeah, a bit of a Ned Kelly, more like a Ned Kelly.
Yeah, more like a Ned Kelly. That's it. And is Raw Talent Radio, Raw Talent Radio a bit of an extension in a way? It's like you doing your stuff.
It's part of my political ethos of what comedy would be and what a night should be. And see, I'm not a big fan of comedy. I think comedy it's almost French for not very funny, a lot of it. Sometimes you see the word comedy and think, well, that's not going to be very funny, is it? And back in my day, when I was a youngster, it used to just be called humour, or that's funny. It wasn't called comedy until Richard Pryor about the mid-'80s, and all of a sudden bloody everything was bloody comedy and not very funny. So bugger comedy, we go straight for the funny stuff, and...
You've got a background in theatre. You went to NIDA, which is the
did,
equivalent of RADA here.
Oh, it's exactly the same, actually. Exactly the same as RADA, only it's in Sydney.
Yeah.
And instead of talking like that, we all talk a bit like Sydney. Yeah, no, yes, it is. It's the Australian RADA.
It is.
I am a classically trained actor.
You are a classically trained actor.
I know it shows, I know.
Yes. All that class. And you're from Queensland.
Yeah, I know. Did you have to bring that up? I'm from bloody Queensland,
You
yeah.
are so from Queensland.
I'm a banana bender.
What I want to know is...
Bending bloody bananas.
It's true.
What do you want to know, you Sydney bugger?
Yeah, I know.
They're so smug, Sydney bastards.
We are the new LA, darling. Thanks very much. What I want to know is how much of being in Queensland actually influenced your humour.
Oh, a lot. Because when I grew up in Queensland, my dad was a Queensland policeman. So he was a fascist. At that time, we had a fascist premier. And there were laws in Queensland where you couldn't gather, 3 people couldn't gather at any one time because that was deemed a protest. And Queenslanders have on their number plate the Sunshine State. And they mooted 2 years ago to change it to the Smart State. And there were complaints. No, we don't know. We're the Sunshine State. We're not the Smart State. You're fucking right there. You fucking got that right.
Do you like to perform so you can release that stuff?
I did. I've just got back on the horse. 3 years ago, I had this incident at the Comedia where I was saying what I thought, and we were being very uncensored, and I was thrown out of the venue, and it got really ugly, and I got, pilloried and demonised in the press. Oh dear, for telling some dickhead to piss off. Really, that's all it was. And so I lost a lot of confidence in my hometown. So it's not until this Raw Talent Radio that I got back on the horse, feel the support of my local community again, and got the youngsters back on board.
It's been brilliant having you on the show.
Yeah, good on you,
it's
Matt.
taken me back to thinking about the 80s and all the people that were involved in the comedy scene.
Yeah.
I just want to ask, is there anybody in the audience that wants to ask Mark a question?
Oh, crikey.
Yeah. Oh, we've got one down there. Yep.
Hello.
Hello. I once saw you in Brighton have your toe bitten on stage.
Were you at that gig?
I was at that gig.
Yeah.
Has anything weird happened?
No, that's pretty well the weirdest thing.
If there was anything in the world that you could change, what would it be?
Change? Oh my goodness. The climate's already changing, isn't it? We can't change that. Oh, I'd change the way that humanity is set up. You know, to stop governing us and let us just govern ourselves. I'd change that. I'd change, Maddie, I think everything that's actually happening, I think you write it all down, you think it's not working right, the planet's in a mess. What are we doing? You write down what we're doing, then over here you write down everything, you write down the complete opposite. Let's do the opposite. If we're doing that, let's do the opposite of that. That's what I think we should do.
Fantastic.